Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about Android development and why it's important and how Jetpack Compose simplifies UI development. So let's get into it. What is Android development? Android development refers to creating applications for devices that run on the Android operating system. You can use languages like Java, Kotlin, or even C++, and the primary tool for this is Android Studio. But why is Android development important? Number one, market share. Android powers the majority of mobile devices worldwide, giving you a massive user base for your apps. 2. It's open sourced. Android is open source, which makes it flexible and customizable for developers. 3. A diverse ecosystem. Android apps can be deployed on various devices from smartphones to wearables, tablets, and even TVs. 4. Google integration. Android integrates seamlessly with Google services, making it easy to use tools like Maps or the Play Store in your apps. Monetization. Whether through in-app purchases, ads, or subscriptions, Android offers various ways to monetize your apps. Now let's talk about Jetpack Compose, Android's modern toolkit for building UI. It's a declarative UI framework that allows developers to build UI elements directly in Kotlin rather than using XML layouts. So, how does Jetpack Compose simplify UI development? 1. The declarative approach. Instead of defining your UI in XML and then manually updating it, Compose allows you to declare what the UI should look like based on the current state. It automatically updates the UI wherever the state changes. Here's an example. This is much simpler compared to defining the UI in XML and then binding the data in Kotlin. The code directly reflects the UI and its behavior. 2. Less boilerplate. Compose reduces the amount of repetitive code you typically write when using XML for layouts. Instead of manually finding views and updating them, you just declare how the UI should behave based on the state. Kotlin-based UI. In Compose, your UI is built using Kotlin, the same language you use for your app's logic. That means you can leverage all the modern features of Kotlin like higher order functions and lambdas to create more concise and readable UI code. Reactive UI. One of the best parts of Compose is that it's reactive. The UI automatically updates when the state changes without you needing to manage UI components manually. For example, here's how you can update the UI element when a button is clicked. Every time the button is clicked, the counter increases and the UI is updated automatically. Lastly, easy UI themes and styles. To wrap things up, let's go over some of the basics of Jetpack Compose. Composable functions. Functions annotated with @composable are the building blocks of your UI. These are reusable and can be combined to create more UI components. State management. State management is easy in Compose. You use remember and mutable state of to store and update state, and Compose will automatically update the UI when the state changes. Layouts. Layouts are composed and provide layout composables like column, row, and box, which replace traditional XML layouts like linear layout and constraint layout. Lastly, previews with Jetpack Compose. You can preview your UI directly in Android Studio without having to run the app, which speeds up development. And in conclusion, Jetpack Compose makes UI development much more efficient compared to XML. It reduces the amount of boilerplate code, gives you a reactive UI that updates automatically, and allows you to work entirely in Kotlin. If you're an Android developer learning Jetpack Compose and Game Changer, this is a game changer. In conclusion, Jetpack Compose makes UI development much more efficient compared to XML. It reduces the amount of boilerplate code, gives you a reactive UI that updates automatically, and allows you to work entirely in Kotlin. If you're an Android developer learning Jetpack Compose, this is a game changer. Thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions about Android development or Jetpack Compose, leave them in the comments below. See you next time.